Hi, welcome to this month's sales tip, the sales tip for March 2015. My name is Tim Royds and I'm director of Highclear, a company that provides both sales consultancy and sales training services in the UK and indeed globally. But what it really means is our job is to accelerate your career progression, increase your bonus earnings, and of course, help you exceed your sales objectives. This month's tip, we're going to be focused on something that's commonly referred to, and I bet we've all been on courses that have talked about this, customer objections. Now, isn't that a horrible phrase? Objections. It kind of sounds like the customer's woken up in the morning thinking, I've got a salesperson seeing me today. I wonder what I can think up so that I'm really objectionable during our conversation. I don't think customers are like that. Let's take a bit of a more positive view of this. Now, I've got a job for you to begin with. Get yourself out of salesperson mode. So think like the customer. Think like the customer who you're going to be seeing later today or tomorrow. And on a piece of paper down the left-hand side, what I'd like you to do is think about it from their perspective. What could be all of the risks that are involved with purchasing what you're proposing? Be that a service, be that a product, or a combination of both of those things. What could go wrong? What might not quite live up to expectations? What might you be disappointed with? What could be the risks involved? And write maybe the top 5, 6, 7 down that left-hand piece of paper. And that's thinking about it from the customer's perspective. Now let's think about it from our perspective. I would imagine that very typically that it's the same 5, 6, 7, we call them customer objections, arise time and time again. Write those down the other side of the paper. Now, I'd imagine when you've done that task, when you've done both sides of that paper, you'll find you've got pretty similar risks. Customer objections normally aren't objections at all. They're worries. They're concerns. So let's start thinking about these things a little bit more positively. So number one issue this month is, please don't think about these things as, oh, they're objections from the customer. They're worries that they've genuinely got, because if you were them, you'd be perceiving them as potential risks in purchasing. So that's the first issue. Now, the second issue, as this is a sales tip, is how do we manage these? Now, let's face it, if those risks are there, they're real. They're really there. So they will need managing. My recommendation, therefore, is that you don't wait for the customer to raise them. If those risks are genuinely there, why don't you proactively raise them in the conversation and then manage them in the same way as you would if the customer had managed them? And by the way, I'm not for a moment suggesting you should say, ooh, there's a couple of things I'd be really worried about if I was you and I was buying from us. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you might be saying something like, in IT, for example, well, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, if I was you, clearly one of the things that I'd be very focused on is implementation. Because during implementation, data may be lost and there may be a number of worries and concerns and feelings of discomfort around that. Can I just take a few minutes now to talk you through how we actually proactively manage these issues so that you can feel a lot more comfortable about moving forward when we have moved to the decision about which of the solutions is going to best fit your business. They're risks, they're worries, they're concerns, they're real. If they're real, they're going to prevent progress of that customer's purchasing process. They need to be managed. They need to be managed proactively. This month's tip, don't wait for the customer to raise them. Think about what they are, raise them proactively, manage them. And as a bonus, it will actually raise your credibility in the eyes of the customer. Look forward to seeing you next month.